and welcome to what is E3 week here at Press Start Australia. I'm Ewan and I'm joined today by Kevin. We are going to be looking at some Battlefield gameplay that's been released over at the EA conference that was held just this morning. It's a game that both Kevin and I are really excited about. We're going to do our best to unpack it for you now, despite being super tired, having just done live coverage. Be sure to head over to the website. All the latest news is there. But for now, Kevin, let's unpack this trailer. What initially stood out to you in this trailer that we're seeing of gameplay on Hoth?
So much things for starters. I'm really excited to see Battlefront in action, and we did get a glimpse of it during the EA conference just this morning, if you're in Australia, 6 a.m. So that was a nice, ripe time to get up to watch. I was really happy with it. I'm a little bit skeptical as always, because I always go into E3 a little bit of skepticism, you know. You can't be too positive these days, unfortunately. But you know, they showcased the battle on the ice planet Hoth. I was really stoked to really see it, and it was everything I wanted to see and more. So how about we run through the trailer and then we'll point out some cool stuff in it.
Yeah, let's do it. So at the moment we're looking at a lot of infantry combat. We get to see some of the interplay between first person and third person. We've also seen a bunch of different weapons and grenades shown off. There's obviously a lot of content they've packed into this one gameplay trailer, and we'll see even more of that as the trailer progresses. But should we jump back to the beginning? Is there anything in the early stages of the trailer you want to draw our attention to?
Not a lot. I felt the score, the John Williams score, you know, the classic Star Wars orchestral score. It built up really well because, you know, you've got the player running through the tunnels, and for a split second there, I thought it felt too Battlefieldy for a second. But you know, once it reaches the hangar with the score and then the explosions coming in, I felt it really started to get into that Star Wars feel.
For me, it was this. As soon as you stepped out those hangar doors, this isn't your typical sort of Battlefield map. That this is very much Star Wars, and you see that blaster start firing, and it's more than just a reskin. I think that's pretty obvious at this point. They've gone to a lot of detail here, for sure.
Absolutely, and when you're stepping out the hangar and the player stops and sees the TIE fighters flying across the screen, I lost it. It just felt so Star Warsy, and I was so happy to see it. Another great thing to point out is the absolutely phenomenal sound design that DICE have put into Star Wars Battlefront.
It's incredible. Like, I even noticed like some of the screams that you hear, or the classic screams you hear in Star Wars, and the bullet impacts of the lasers onto the bodies as well. It's just, I'm so impressed.
Yeah, probably one of my favorite points is around a minute and 8 seconds into the gameplay, where the character throws the thermal detonator. It just sounds so much like what it should sound like, and it's just another little, you know, thing that really has me excited for Battlefront.
Yeah, that thermal detonator is awesome, and just the impact and the sort of whoosh kind of sound of it is just so great. You do actually see a fair few sort of grenade variants in here, and a couple of power-ups as well. I think we see a shield used later on that seems to protect you from an airstrike called in from an AT-AT. But just the scale and the sort of sense of scale you get from this, you've got AT-ATs just walking up and down the map, and you look up and you see a Star Destroyer in the sky, and you've got a cannon that you need to protect at some point as well. That's some of that anti-air defenses. It's just...
It certainly looks very epic, and a lot of people were worried because they reduced the player base from 32 versus 32 down to 20 versus 20. And a lot of people were worried that it would turn into like a really tight corridor shooter sort of thing, like Call of Duty with their 6v6. But you know, just looking at that trailer, you know, you've got your AT-ATs, you've got all your walkers and all your TIE fighters and X-Wings. It's just so massive and epic, and I just feel like that 20 versus 20 thing that people were skeptical about, I feel like they shouldn't be skeptical after watching it.
No, I can't see any reason to be worried after coming out of this trailer. It seems like they've got it down to a T what it is that gamers want from this. There's something in it for everyone. We're watching the AT-AT being controlled at the moment, and then some of the snow speeders come in and start attacking it. We'll see later on when they eventually take it down the fact that there's the lasso mechanic in there as well, and they wrap around his legs and bring it down just like they do in the movie.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Absolutely. And it's
so
got
much
a few shades of Rogue Squadron on the GameCube. Did you remember? Did you ever play that one?
I didn't. I can't. No.
Okay, so that one was a game based solely around the whole piloting, and that whole scene when he's wrapping the the rope around the AT-AT legs is just very, very reminiscent of that game as well. And I know that game's been sort of like a cult favorite. A lot of people really like it, and I think the space combat in this game is looks very tight and polished.
Yeah, well, there was a lot of people worried about the lack of space battles in the game, but with the level of which they've attacked the sort of dogfights in the atmosphere, I feel like the people that wanted those air combat sort of scenarios are going to have them there, and going to have them just by bountiful amounts.
Absolutely.
The maps seem to really open up for the air combat. We're seeing, X-Wings and TIE fighters dodging in between crevices and ravines there, and
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. One of my favorite moments in that gameplay trailer is around the 3-minute 50-second mark, where you get a shot of the TIE fighter chasing the X-Wing through the canyon. Absolutely amazing. It just screams nostalgia. And the
first-person view as well, and kind of unique to their own. It's exactly how you imagine sitting inside one of these vehicles.
Absolutely, yeah. Just like in the old Star Wars movies, when you get the first-person cockpit view. It's just beautiful to look at,
So do you reckon this will be a day one pickup for you, or there's absolutely no hesitation now that this is it?
I gotta say, after the mess of Battlefield 4, I'm still quite skeptical, but goddamn, that trailer just did so much for me. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and it's just like that. I want to see more gameplay. I want to see more maps. I want to see just more Star Wars. But I wouldn't say it's a day one for me yet. But I'll definitely be keeping a very close eye on it.
We're just seeing in the video at the moment the introduction of the heroes and the villains. So you've got Luke facing up against Darth Vader.
Absolutely,
let's just go back and watch that again, because I think there's some awesome mechanics introduced with particularly the lightsaber combat. In Battlefield 2, it was real clunky. You sort of felt like you were swinging around a totem pole half the time and sort of jousting with enemy Jedis rather than sort of having contextualized combat. But that certainly seems to be different in this version.
Absolutely, yeah.
The way that Luke's just able to deflect bullets and then eventually locks the lightsabers with Vader is just fantastic.
Absolutely. I found it quite funny that Luke's wearing his Episode 6 outfit.
Yeah.
Whereas the map set on Hoth, which people assume will be Episode 5 based.
Isn't he
I just
cold?
thought that was a little... Yeah, exactly. I guess the Force keeps you warm.
Yeah, I guess so. It certainly seems that the Force is a usable ability, though. You see Luke blast back a bunch of the Stormtroopers, and that's not long after you see Vader Force choke one of the rebels.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it'll be interesting to see how that's integrated and whether or not that's, any way like the Force Unleashed.
I'm wondering if there's going to be bots in the game, sort of like Titanfall had. You've got your 6v6, and then you had a whole bunch of grunts and stuff to just make up the rest of the battlefield. I'm wondering if that's the case for Battlefront, because the way Luke dispatches all those enemies, it was very just sort of one-hit kills, and I feel like that's a little bit overpowered, even though Jedi are meant to be super overpowered. But in terms of gameplay-wise, I'm not sure if it'll be that fair.
Yeah, I'm revisiting some of the earlier stages of the video at the moment, trying to look at some of the names assigned to the characters. A lot of them do look like player characters, but I see what you mean. There does seem to be sort of a lot of infantry milling around, and I wonder if they are all players.
I mean, it'll be like I wouldn't mind having a bit more of just random militia just to fill out the numbers, but it's worth keeping an eye out whether they'll do the Titanfall method of multiplayer, or just do the 20v20.
Yeah, or perhaps alternate game modes where there is one or the other. Just touching on game modes as well, we saw in the PlayStation conference some co-op missions, or seemingly so. Is that an inclusion that excites you at all? Is this a game you'd see picking up and playing with your mates?
Probably. Just is it going to be local split screen co-op?
I believe that was something they talked about. I don't know if that's been confirmed. I would need to double check on that.
Because if it's a local, four player or even like 2-player, I definitely see myself, sitting down with a mate and just going through the missions, like, someone who's as into Star Wars as I am, just to experience, the feeling of, being in a Star Wars universe together. But like I said, I don't expect these missions to be a huge part of the game.
No.
I don't know whether you played Halo 4.
I did.
Yeah, okay, you did. Yeah, do you remember the Spartan Ops where there was sort of like little No.
I was excited. I'm like, yes, I understand this reference, and then no.
Anyway, they had Spartan Ops, which was like a 10-20 minute little missions. They had a couple seasons for it.
Right, yes. I do remember these now. I played very few of those. Yeah. I see what you're saying though. If they are like that, that would be quite a nice inclusion. Battlefield 3 did something similar where you sort of had 6 or so just simple, pretty missions that you could play with a mate. But if they really expand that concept for here, and you can have 4 or 6 friends or whatever in your match, doing various sort of objective-based missions, that can be something I could see sinking a lot of time in. It's just something to do with my gaming buddies more so than anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully these little missions will be quite bountiful. But if they're, I feel like DICE just kind of threw them in because they've always been a multiplayer sort of focus, especially in terms of Battlefront. But again, that's me being pessimistic. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. Well, they have said that what they're good at is systems, and that's where they feel the strongest at, and that's what their focus will be. So that'll be the reason why we don't have a single player campaign, for instance.
Which I'm okay with, actually. Because
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, Battlefront's never had a single player campaign. If they really buckle down and focus on the multiplayer aspect, and if that multiplayer aspect turns out to be absolutely amazing, nobody's going to be asking, oh, where's the single player, because DICE will have lived up to what Battlefront's all about.
Exactly. Well, this game is out November 19th, so that'll be about a month before the film. It's going to be a hell of a month, but be sure that this will be on my list, as I know it'll be on a lot of hours here at Press Start. So be sure to stay tuned to everything we're doing here on the YouTube channel and over at the site. A bunch of E3 news, and keep up to date with it all. We'll sure try our best to keep you updated.